Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sporting Perspective. It is World Cup time, World Cup 26. What a time to be alive. Great time to be a sports fan. This is going to be a great June, great July. James, I know you're a big soccer football fan. How excited are you for Thursday to start?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm amped. I'm ready for this tournament to get started. Obviously, I want the U.S. to do the best they can. I'm realistic. I'm not gonna be like some crazy U.S. analysts who are picking U.S. to win it all. But I'm excited, and I think it's a good showcase for not only the U.S. but for Canada and for Mexico. I feel like there's a lot of Americans who fail to recognize that this is not just on U.S. soil. It will be in Mexico and it will be in Canada, and those two countries get massive home field advantage too. And I think the last time the U.S. hosted was 1994. So you and I have no recollection of that.
Yeah.
So this will be fun. I'm not going to any games, but I'll be watching.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And as you said, Canada, USA, Mexico, the host nations. One of the things I'm the most excited about that is so many World Cups in our lifetime have been played in Europe, in Russia, Africa. We've been having to wake up at 2 in the morning to watch the matches live. One of the great things about this is it's gonna be right up our alley for we're gonna be watching at normal times, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I think the first games are mainly at noon. Like you said, we get the prime slots, and
Yeah.
uh, we get to watch it all and not have to wake up at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I remember doing that for the South Africa
Yep.
World Cup. I remember the summer 2010. I remember waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to watch U.S. matches. So
Well, even just go back 3.5 years to Qatar, and if I remember right, those that match schedule was like 3 matches a day, but they were kicking off California time at like midnight, 3 in the morning, and then like 6 in the morning.
yeah,
So, I mean, we're not going to have to deal with anything like that on this go around, which is great for our viewing pleasure. And I guess one of the biggest things with this tournament is it's going to be change. There's going to be change this tournament like we've never seen before. 32 teams used to be in the World Cup. Now they're bringing in 48. We've added 4 groups, if I remember right. But my question to you is, is more is less more here? We have some countries that are very small. As I was kind of making my picks, I feel like we've got a couple regions though that are really weak. What do you think about this expansion?
yeah. I mean, per usual, like every other sport, when it comes to this, whether it's college football, college basketball with March Madness, and now the World Cup. I mean, it really is all driven by money. Is what it is. I try not to lose too much sleep over it. I feel bad for some of these countries that are, the fourth team in a group with Argentina, Spain, Germany, those type of like they could just absolutely get crunched and lose
Yeah,
like 5, 6, 7 to 0.
yeah,
Um, but a lot of those countries too are looking at it as they did make the World Cup, and that's a success for some of them. I know we were talking before we started recording about Cape Verde, and there's no way that they can expect to do anything obviously at this World Cup, but maybe just the fact that they're there is fun for them. Like they get to go watch 3 matches, whether they draw or lose every single one. Maybe that's a success to them. So, uh, yeah,
yeah,
it'll be interesting because third place teams now have a chance. It used to be just the top 2 teams from each group move on to the round of 16, but now we're going to have a round of 32, and third place teams get put into a group standings, I guess, and it's based on points and goal differential. So you could theoretically win like one game and lose two and still make it to the next round. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, kind of a quick follow-up question to that because you addressed something that I was going to talk about, where now third place teams in each group have a chance of advancing as well. Now that there's a round of 32, where it always was starting at 16. Do you think, by any chance, I know everyone's going to go out there and win every match that they play and everything like that, but in years past, we go into these groups, these round robins of 3 games, and it's do or die. You have to win every game, or you're in real trouble. You at least have to get away with a point, in the end. Do you think that some of these teams will kind of go in a little bit more? I don't want to say lackluster, but a little bit less, oh my God, we have to get these 3 points every single match or we're in trouble. Knowing the fact that, I'm not going to say like a Spain is going to like let up against, Uruguay or anything like that, but they have Saudi Arabia, they have Cape Verde, they know they're going to get the 3 more than likely off of those two. You know, Instead of exhausting yourself against the Uruguay, could you see more subs coming in? Resting some older guys. We know Messi's playing for like Argentina. They have a pretty easy group as well. Can we see some of these guys just not play certain matches just to get rest? Because once we get into the round of 32, now that you have that extra thing, it is a gauntlet in the playoff or elimination rounds.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a team like Argentina or Spain, who you mentioned, and they are sitting at 6 points because they win their first 2 games and they're able to rest some of their older guys or, more prominent players, and it won't maybe really affect where they land. I can see that. However, I think winning the group is still important because if you win your group, you're most likely going to play one of those third place teams. And if you sit a bunch of players and are content with a draw that then leads to the goal differential, making you now second in that one other team, whether you're playing that team in the third match or you are already played, but now you're tied in points. Now you're playing a second place team rather than a crappier third place team. It could kind of backfire. My mentality is always try to win every game and let the chips fall how they're supposed to, but it'll be interesting. I'm curious if managers of these countries will look at who they potentially could play, and
Yeah.
I think we'll still see the most prominent guys and best players play in probably all 3 games, to be
Yeah.
honest.
All right. Well, with that said, do you want to start going into picks and kind of breaking down each group here?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we'll just go right in alphabetical order. Group A leading us off. Group A, I'll just kind of name all the countries. Mexico, host country. South Korea, Czech Republic, and then South Africa are the 4 teams in this region. Not terribly difficult, but what do you think, James?
So I have Mexico winning their group. I don't want to say this is an easy group. South Africa is really bad.
Yes, they're
But
better.
I have Mexico, I have Czechia finishing second, I have South Korea finishing third, and then, like I said, South Africa is not that good. I think they're going to be the bottom of this group. But I think home soil in Mexico is going to be huge for them. They're used to playing at Stadio Azteca, which is, I believe, higher elevation than, for baseball fans out there, Coors Field in Denver. I mean, the U.S. knows very, very well how difficult of a place Estadio Azteca is with the elevation. So they seem to always, that's their home when it comes to their national team. So Czechia, South Korea, South Africa, they'll be playing at probably elevations they've never really played at before. I was going between Czechia and South Korea. I really do like South Korea. They have a lot of good players on their team, and they always seem to be pretty technical and pretty sound. I just think Czechia, when it came down to Czechia versus South Korea, I have Czechia winning that game, and I think that'll ultimately put them in second place.
All right. So, yeah, you got any players you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I did one from each team, and I'll just go in the order of how I had those teams finishing. So for Mexico, Gilberto Mora, he's the youngest player in this tournament. He's 17 years old. He's an attacking midfielder. I don't know if he's going to start, but I think he'll definitely have a role on that Mexican team. But yeah, I mean, obviously, being the youngest player in the tournament is always a cool storyline. For Czechia, I put down Patrick Schick. He's a striker for Bayer Leverkusen in the German league. The dude can score goals in bunches, and that's something Czechia is going to need if they obviously want to. In soccer, you got to score goals to win. But I think Patrick Schick is a really good striker, and Czechia is going to need him. For South Korea, obviously the big name is Son, who used to play for Tottenham. He's now playing on LAFC. But I want to highlight Kim Min Jae. He's a center back. He plays for Bayern Munich. The South Korean back line, their defense is super young. And obviously with this guy being on Bayern Munich, a big high-level club, he's got the experience of playing in a big league, and he's going to be kind of that, center driving force for that defensive line. And then last but not least for South Africa, I put down Lyle Foster. He's a striker for Burnley in the Premier League. I think Burnley just got relegated, so they'll be going down to the Championship. But he still had an entire season up in the Prem. He's a good young player, great goal scorer. Burnley impressed me, I think, in the Premier League. It's always tough when you're one of those teams who seems to go jockeyed between we're good enough to get promoted to the Prem, but not good enough to really compete. So then you go back to the Championship. It's a tough slate there for some of those clubs in England. But yeah, those are my four guys.
Sweet. Yeah, so I'll kind of just rattle off. It was pretty similar to what you said, but I got Mexico winning this group. I'll be shocked if they don't walk away with 7 points. They might get 9, but I feel very confident they're going to get at least 7. I got South Korea coming in second. I think that they might draw with Mexico, and the reason I say that, they're the only match that doesn't happen at Azteca, so that kind of helps out a little bit luck on the scheduling there. I got Czech coming in third, and then I South Africa I don't think gets a point. I think it could be pretty rough for South Africa, but I'm going to go Mexico, South Korea, Czech, and then South Africa. I don't know if Czech gets in as one of the three seeds though, so that's my feeling. Let's move over to Group B. This might be the weakest of the groups, so we'll kind of go through this one rather quickly. Canada, host country, Bosnia, and I can never pronounce the last name, so we're just going to go Bosnia for sake of that. Qatar, and Switzerland. Switzerland's actually the highest ranked team in this group. Canada obviously gets the pass, being the host nation. Who do you got here?
So I have Canada winning their group. I have Switzerland in second, Qatar in third, and then Bosnia and Herzegovina in fourth. Fun fact, Qatar, I believe, at the last World Cup was the first host nation to not make it out of their group in quite some time. Whether it's ever or just quite some time, I don't remember. But the reason I say that is because that you gotta look at Mexico, the U.S., and Canada as teams that theoretically should have a good shot of coming out of their groups. Players to watch for Canada, I really wanted to go with Alphonso Davies, who plays for Bayern Munich. His status is a little uncertain right now. He's dealing with an injury. He's by far their best player on the team, and he's been on Bayern Munich for quite some time now. I mean, he's the face of Canadian soccer. I'm going with Jonathan Davis, their striker. He plays for Juventus in Italy. Great goal scorer, and he's going to be someone who's going to really have to step up his game if Davies misses that first match or more. For Switzerland, I put my former Arsenal boy, Granit Xhaka. He's a defensive mid. He was a guy that seemed to always get red cards on Arsenal. He's really good. He's a really good holding midfielder. He's going to be that driving force for Switzerland. He can sort of go box to box. He's, like I said, he's more of a defensive guy, but he can rip a couple shots if need be. But he's kind of the heartbeat to that Switzerland team. For Qatar, this one is tough because I don't know Qatar that well. I went with Hassan Al Haidos, midfielder. He's their captain. Don't have much to say because honestly, I have not watched Qatar play that much. And last but not least, I went with Edin Dzeko on Bosnia. He's actually still playing for Schalke 04 in the German league. He's a striker. The dude's a legend. He's like 40 or 41 years old. I mean, he used to play on Man City like 10 years ago, and he was like relevant. And the fact that he's still there and still making World Cups, granted Bosnia and Herzegovina, they don't make every single World Cup. I think they have had a little bit of a drought for quite some time, but he, if you're a big FIFA fan or just soccer fan in general, you probably know the name Edin Dzeko.
Yeah, Bosnia was one of those teams that got in one of the last 6 spots.
The playoff.
Yeah, so they were one of the last ones that got into the World Cup. I got Switzerland winning this region actually, or group. Sorry, keep seeing region group. Switzerland winning the group. I got Canada coming in second. I flip a coin. I'll go Bosnia 3 and Qatar 4. I don't think it matters. I don't think those two get past the group stage anyways. But I think Switzerland beats Canada in Canada. And they both advance, but Switzerland 1, Canada 2 for me. Let's go to Group C, which is pretty top-heavy. Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and then let's just all pray for Haiti.
Yeah, you said it best. It's top heavy. I had to flip a coin between Brazil and Morocco, and it came up Brazil. So I'm going Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, Haiti in that order. This could be an interesting group just because Scotland is super defensive, and they have a lot of names that people would recognize, especially Manchester United fans, with the player that I'll name later. But Brazil, at this point, Brazil is just kind of a name. They haven't done much in World Cups recently. They're a very old team. They brought on Neymar still, who is barely playing competitive soccer. I'm not sure why he's on the team, but yeah, anyways. Player to watch for me for Brazil is Vini Jr., arguably one of the best players right now in the world. He's a winger for Real Madrid, if you don't know who he is, but he's one of those guys who just hasn't quite proved it for his national team. He's a star at Real Madrid, but then just can't seem to figure it out with Brazil, along with a lot of Brazil players recently. For Morocco, I put down Achraf Hakimi. He's a player that you'll probably recognize just because Morocco did so well at the last World Cup, and Hakimi is a big name. He was on the PSG team that just won the Champions League. He's kind of an attacking wing back. He plays like right back, but he is definitely an attacking player more than like a defensive right back. As I mentioned, former Manchester United, Scott McTominay. For Scotland, he's on Napoli now. He's a center attacking mid. He'll kind of be the driving force for that Scotland attack. And then last but not least, Haiti. I ended up just going with Jean Rickner Bellegarde. Bellegarde. He's their center attacking mid. He was like one of the only players I knew on the Haitian team because he plays for Wolverhampton in the Premier League. So yeah, those are my players.
Yeah, so I kind of had the same stat that you had, a little bit older of a Brazil team going into this World Cup, and they haven't done much as of recent. So maybe they'll surprise us, but I'm going to have Morocco winning the group. Brazil coming in second, Scotland coming in third, Haiti fourth. I think Haiti is kind of the key to this group though, because I think a lot of goals are going to be scored on Haiti. Like it's going to be like minus 14 for them, and in doing so, I think Scotland advances because of that. They're going to score 3-4 goals against Haiti. Brazil, Morocco, I think might do something really bad, like a 7-0 type situation. But I'm going to take Morocco here. I think Morocco pulls it off. I think they beat Brazil in the opening match, which is going to be quite a statement. But yeah, I'll take Morocco, and Brazil and Scotland will get out. So now let's go to Group D, the group that so many people are interested in because it is the United States. United States, Turkey, Australia, and Paraguay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking the U.S. not just because obviously I'm a U.S. fan, but I think just being on home soil and playing every game in a city where they theoretically should have the home field advantage is just going to be helpful. So I have the U.S. I have Turkey. I think it's Turkey. They're like trying to rebrand from. I mean, if you say Turkey, I don't think anyone cares, but
Yeah.
I have noticed that they're trying to rebrand as Turkey. Then I have Paraguay in third and Australia in fourth. This isn't a tough group, I don't think, for the U.S. It's actually very favorable, but it's not like easy. Like the U.S. needs to go in with a mindset of winning every game, just because they can't afford to stumble and get put in a situation where they are either the third place team and have to worry about goal differential and points, or worst case scenario, they just don't show up at all and get last.
Yeah.
So the players to watch for me for the U.S. Florin Balogun, our main striker. He plays for AS Monaco. The U.S. hasn't had a striker probably since like Josie Altidore, and getting a guy like Balogun who was able to represent England or the U.S. and him committing to the U.S. I think was huge. He's a really good player, and he's someone that I think will link up really well with Pulisic, and can take a little bit of pressure off Pulisic as well. For Turkey, I put Arda Güler. He's center attacking mid, Real Madrid. He's kind of the future of soccer. I mean, could be one of the best players. If not, he might already be one of them in the next couple years. And he's like 20 years old. I mean, the kid's insane. For Paraguay, I put Julio Enciso. He's their center attacking mid. He plays for Strasbourg. And then last but not least for Australia, I put their goalie, Matt Ryan. He's still playing in the Spanish league on Levante. He's kind of a cult hero for the Socceroos down in Australia. And he's the only goalie I put as a player to watch just because, one, he's a name a lot of people probably know, but he's also going to have a really good tournament and save a lot of shots for Australia if they want to, do anything.
Yeah. So I also have the United States winning this group, but I will say, kind of opposite from Group C, I don't see a lot of scoring in this group, so take advantage of the opportunities that you have because I see a lot of 0-0, 1-0 situations here coming out of this group. I don't see a lot of goals being scored, so take your opportunities where you can because I don't see a lot of them coming. So United States really needs to, and while this is not like a heavy group, there's no one bad in this group. There's no one that you can bully, and in a lot of these groups, there's a team that you can bully. There's no team you're going to be able to bully here. So I expect 3 close matches, but I think U.S. wins the region. I'm going Australia second. Not a lot of confidence there. I feel like Turkey, Australia, Paraguay can all finish second here, but I'm going to go Australia, Turkey, and then I'll go Paraguay last. But I feel like for the second place spot, it could be anyone. I also believe that third place is not coming out of this group. I think we're only going to get two teams, and that's because I think every team is going to be pretty close to zero when it comes to plus minus. I'll also mention this because I thought it was very weird. So everyone's got their home bases and they've picked where they're going to practice and stuff like that. Turkey apparently doesn't know the United States. They are practicing in Mesa. It is 106 degrees today. What are they doing? Like, like
Ramping up the heat index, I guess, and yeah, it's a little odd.
It's not like they're playing anywhere. Like their matches are in Vancouver, Santa Clara, and Inglewood. Inglewood's a dome. What are you preparing for? Practicing at 106 degrees?
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, quick update.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Julio Enciso in Paraguay, like arguably their best player,
Yeah.
he got hurt just the last couple days, so he's out for the whole tournament. So yeah, so take him away from my players to watch because you
Oh.
won't be watching him. He
Yeah,
is
he's
hurt.
not gonna be there. Yeah. So, but I'll take United States to win it. But that was my little note on Turkey. What are you doing? Like,
That's odd.
I don't understand that. All right, let's move to Group E. Another interesting group. Germany is the headliner. Ecuador, Ivory Coast, and Curacao. Baseball country. Not really football when you think of it, but Curacao has made it in.
Yeah, so I have Germany winning. I have Ecuador second. I have Ivory Coast third, and Curacao coming in last. Players to watch. For Germany, I put down Kai Havertz. Arsenal kind of do everything. He's like a center attacking mid. He can be He can be a striker. He can play out on the flank. Kind of a false nine. He's not like a true striker, but he kind of plays off down a little bit. Anyways, he scored a goal in the Champions League. He's coming off kind of an injury-plagued season, but kind of came on towards the end for Arsenal, and then we obviously saw him score a goal when Germany and the U.S. played just short time ago. So I threw down Kai Havertz as my player to watch for Germany. For Ecuador, it's Moises Caicedo. He's their center defensive mid. He plays on Chelsea in the Premier League, and he's just a technically sound, fantastic passer and just kind of anchors that defense for Ecuador. For Ivory Coast, I put down Jan Diamande, just a young winger. He plays for RP Leipzig in the German league. Ivory Coast, not as good as they used to be. But Diamande, I think, is just a young dude who can at least give some spark to that offense. And for Curacao, I had a little trouble, but I just ended up going with Tahith Chong. He's a midfielder, plays for Sheffield United, who I'm not sure where they are currently. I don't know if they're in the third tier or if they're in the Championship in England. They're definitely not in the Premier League, but yeah, he's like the only player I sort of knew just based on the club that he belongs to.
So I had a very similar, actually, I had the exact same. Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast, Curacao in that order 1, 2, 3, 4. Ivory Coast, I do believe, gets out as the 3 seed, so I think we'll get 3 from this group. But I do believe Germany will roll, not lose a match. They're going to come out with 9 points. And I think everyone's going to bully on Curacao. Pretty straightforward on that one. So let's go to Group F. F is a tricky one, in my opinion. You got Netherlands, always performs well in this tournament, big team. Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. How the hell do you say that?
Tunisia.
Tunisia. All right, there you go.
Tunisia.
Learning things today.
I think I have it in that exact order you said. I have Netherlands winning, then Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Players to watch: Virgil van Dijk for the Netherlands, massive center back, plays for Liverpool, and then always an aerial threat on set pieces and corner kicks. So a guy that always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And scores a goal for the Netherlands when needed. He's also like one of the best defenders in the world. For Japan, I'm probably going to butcher this name, Ayase Ueda, striker. He plays for Feyenoord, which I believe is it the Swiss league? No, I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, he plays for Feyenoord. Striker for Japan. He's going to be needed as just a goal scoring threat. There was a big injury recently. Matoma for Japan, I believe, who plays on Brighton and Home. He plays for Brighton in the Premier League, I believe. He won't be at the tournament. So Ueda's going to need to be in prime form. Sweden was a tough one for me. I went between Alexander Isak and Victor Gyökeres for Arsenal. Isak's on Liverpool. He was their big signing last summer from Newcastle. He's a really good player. He had like a injury-plagued season. But he and Gyökeres they're the two strikers, whether they play together or one starts and the other comes in the second half. They're kind of the two main talismans for that Sweden attack. Fun fact, too, about Sweden, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to be on the Fox coverage, so Sweden will at least have Zlatan, probably covering their game, if not, obviously, the rest of the tournament. And then last but not least, Tunisia. I had a tough time with this one, so I just ended up going with the Burnley midfielder, Hannibal Mejbri, just because he's going to have, at least he's had a full season, I guess, playing in the Premier League, so hopefully he's in decent form, and he's played against, good competition, so hopefully he brings that to that Tunisian side.
Yep. I have the exact same order you did. Netherlands, always a tough out, big team. They always create matchup nightmares, it feels like, in this tournament. Japan, kind of the same thing in the opposite way, usually pretty fast, tough team to kind of control. So it's going to be interesting to see those two teams going up against everyone else. But I think they advance. I think Sweden gets out as the 3. You brought up Zlatan. I have a great Zlatan story that I will tell really quick because it's hilarious. Back when I used to work with the Galaxy, Zlatan was on the team, and it was around the time that LeBron James signed with the Lakers, and that afternoon when he signed, Zlatan's tweet was probably the greatest tweet of all time. He said, "Now LA has a king and a god."
I forgot about that.
Still one of my favorite tweets of all time. So he did not.
He's a character. He's going to be interesting on the Fox broadcast. I can't wait for that.
He does not lack confidence.
No, he's cocky as hell.
But he was a hell of a football player when he was.
He backs it up though.
Yeah, he was a hell of a striker. All right, let's go to Group G. Another pretty competitive region up top. Group up top: Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and then the worst ranked team in the tournament, New Zealand.
Yeah, so I have Belgium winning, I have Egypt in second, I have Iran in third, and then New Zealand coming in last. Belgium's interesting, though. Their golden generation has kind of already passed, so a lot of the players, when you see their starting 11, or just even probably the bench, are players you've probably seen and heard of before. They're just getting a lot older now. So the player I have to watch is one of those old guys. It's Leandro Trossard. He's left wing forward for Arsenal. He's just one of those guys who always seems to score when needed for Arsenal. So Belgium's really going to need him to do that as well, just because, like I said, Kevin De Bruyne, Lukaku, they're just getting older. Not saying they're not good anymore, but I think the best is just a little behind them. For Egypt, obviously the big name is Mohamed Salah, Egyptian Messi. He's been on Liverpool forever. I want to highlight Omar Marmoush, who's a also a forward. Probably will play a little more center. But he's younger, plays for Man City, up and coming player. I think he's going to be key to that Egypt attack. And then last but not least for New Zealand, Chris Wood. He's a striker for Nottingham Forest. I never knew that he was from New Zealand. I always just assumed he was English, but you learn something new every day. So Chris Wood, he's one of those guys who's always like top 10, top 15 at the end of the Premier League season in goals when he's healthy, and obviously starting and playing a lot. So he's a good striker. So New Zealand will definitely be leaning on him to score goals when they can.
So I've got Belgium coming out of this group. I got Belgium, Iran, Egypt, New Zealand in that order. I think Belgium, Iran, Egypt all advance. But here's the kicker to what I'm about to say. I think all three of them lose in the first round. So it's not a really, for me, not a very flashy group. And I don't think it's a group that's going to do much outside of the group stage. But Belgium wins it. I think this is going to be the group that just gets annihilated in the first round.
I also just realized I skipped Iran. So my player to watch for Iran is Mehdi Taremi, a forward. He plays for Olympiacos in the Greek league.
All right, let's move over to H, which is, if you want to talk about blowouts, this might be the region for you. Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, and Camp Verde, those are the four. Spain comes into the tournament ranked as the number one overall ranked team, according to FIFA.
Yeah, I have Spain winning this group. I think they win every game handedly. I have Uruguay, I guess I should say, coming in second, Saudi Arabia, and then Cape Verde. Players to watch. I really wanted to go with Pedri for Spain. I think he's the best midfielder in the world, but I couldn't not talk about Lamine Yamal for Barcelona. He's their winger. He's a mere 18 years old now, I think. I think he was playing in the Euros at like 16 years old. He debuted for Barcelona. I'm going to butcher this, but he debuted at like 14 or 15 or something weird. And he's already like one of the best players in the world. He's 18. The kid's a freak. He's obviously a key part of that Spanish attack. For Uruguay, I put Federico Valverde. He's a midfielder. Also, I think one of the best midfielders in the world. He plays for Real Madrid. Sort of. I think he's a little more defensive, but obviously defense also wins. You got to not allow goals, and then also get the ball up to guys like Darwin Nunez, their striker for Uruguay, to score. So Valverde, he's a name. If you follow the Spanish league, you definitely know who he is. For Saudi Arabia, and Cape Verde, I'll be honest, I don't know much about these teams. So for Saudi Arabia, I went with Salem Al Dakusare. He's a winger for Al Hilal in the Saudi Arabian league. So I'm sure he's making pretty good money because a lot of those former Premier League, Spanish league, French, all the big name players have taken the money and gone to Saudi Arabia, like Ronaldo, Sadio Mane for Senegal, guys like that. And then last but not least, for Cape Verde, I went with I think he's their captain, Ryan Mendez. I looked him up, though, did a little research. He's their leading goal scorer of all time. So I think he's an older player, must be in his early to mid-30s, but he's kind of their best crop of talent that they have. So
Okay. I'm pretty much going the same order as you. There's no surprise here. Spain's going to roll this group. Spain wins it. Uruguay will come second. Saudi Arabia third. Camp Verde. What the hell? Cap Verde. Wow. Cape Verde. My goodness. Why is it Cap Verde? They'll come in fourth. I just want to make a quick note, though, because this kind of came into my mind right when I'm kind of seeing everything laying out. And you kind of brought up the Saudi Arabia Football League that started not too long ago. It is shocking. There is, if I counted it right, there are 8 teams, or 8 nations represented out of the Middle East. crazy to think. Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Jordan, Qatar, Egypt, and now I'm missing one. It'll come to me. But there's 8. Oh, Uzbekistan. But I wonder if that league has anything to do with it. The soccer has gotten better at 3. I doubt it. But, it's still interesting that they've sent 8 teams to the World Cup. All right, we'll move to Group I, which is headlined by France, the 2022 runner-up. They draw Senegal, Norway, and Iraq.
So this is what I've read is sort of the group of death. I have France winning it, then Norway, Senegal, and Iraq in that order. Players to watch, I'll mention him because you kind of have to. He's not my player to watch. Mbappe is Mbappe. He's gonna score goals. He's gonna set records. He's on his way to being one of the greatest international players of all time. My player to watch is Michael Olise, the center attacking mid for France. Played in the Premier League for a little while, and he's kind of like a late bloomer. He's on Bayern Munich now, but he's like just now hitting his stride when typically you see guys who are superstars like him debut at like 18, 19 years old. He's just kind of a late bloomer, but he's really, really good, and he's going to be a huge part of that French offense. For Norway, I went with the machine, Erling Haaland on Man City. He's probably the best striker in the world at this point. I mean, the guy, he's insane. I swear, he scores a goal every game. It's just you look at the stat sheet for every Man City game, and there's Haaland with at least one goal. For Senegal, I put Lamine Camara. He's an up-and-coming young midfielder for Monaco. The big name would be Sadio Mane, who used to be on Liverpool, and he now plays in the Saudi Arabian League. But Lamine Camara, I think, will be definitely a young player to watch. And then last, again, I know I've had a couple of these, but it's just is what it is when you have a bigger tournament like this, and you have smaller countries, and I don't want to say shittier teams, that's not the right way to say it, but just smaller teams that don't get as much coverage. For Iraq, I put Ayman Hussein. He's the Iraq striker. And again, they're going to be a team that probably gives up goals, so he's going to be needed to score some goals.
Yeah, Iraq is probably getting a pretty buoyed around in this group. I've got France winning it, Senegal coming in second, Norway coming in third, but Norway will advance. In third, Iraq just kind of gets blown up in this one. France, tough group, but I think France is one of the best teams in this whole tournament, and they're going to get through it. I don't want to say without breaking much of a sweat, but they're going to get through it pretty easily. So.
Couple injuries too for France in their defense, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. They're a team that obviously when it comes to the depth of talent, they don't lack that at all. They'll watch me say that, and then they're going to end up being fine. But like William Saliba, their center back, I'm not sure if he's going to miss the whole tournament or not. I know he's hurt currently, but just something to keep an eye on, because if France falters, it could be because a couple big-name defensemen are hurt.
All right. Let's move on over to Group J, where we have Argentina, the 2022 winner. And they were gifted, very much gifted, probably the easiest group when it comes down to it. Austria, Algeria, Jordan is who they have to go up against. Austria barely makes it in the top 25 world ranking. So not a lot of competition in this group for Argentina, but how do you think it's going to play out?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Argentina, I think, got really lucky because they're basically running back the exact same team they had 3.5 years ago, I guess. 4 years ago. So I have Argentina winning. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still one of the tournament favorites. Obviously, a lot of their players are still in prime form. Messi included, somehow just still chugging along for Inter Miami. And then I have Algeria second, Austria third, Jordan in fourth. My player to watch, I had to do it. I put down Messi. I mean, he's the GOAT, and he's somehow at another World Cup when we thought maybe he'd have his swan song by winning it and just walking off the international stage,
Yeah.
finishing in the MLS. But here we are, and he's back. And maybe part of that might be just because he is playing for Inter Miami, he lives here in the U.S., and he's already here. Why not? Might as well play. For Algeria, I put Riyad Mahrez, a name you might remember way back in, was it 2015 when Leicester City won the Premier League? He was playing for Leicester, one of the greatest upsets of all time when it comes to a team winning the Premier League. He's playing on Al Ali, I believe, in Saudi Arabia now. He did move on to Man City, so if you didn't know about him at Leicester, he did make the move to Man City and played there for a while. For Austria, I put Nicholas Seewald, center defensive mid for RP Leipzig. Austria is also just an older team. Their big name player, David Alaba, I think he's still on Bayern Munich, but he's getting up there in age. I don't think he plays as much for Munich. He's probably more of a rotational player. I don't follow the German league, but he's been around for a long time. So I wanted to highlight Nicholas Seewald. And then last but not least, because Messi is on Argentina, I picked Musa Al-Tamari, a forward from Stade Rennais in the French league for Jordan. He's been dubbed the Jordanian? I think it's Jordanian Messi, just because he's the best player that's ever come from Jordan, playing in like a top tier division in the French league. So you have actual Messi, and then you have the Jordanian Messi.
I won't spend too much time with this group. Argentina will win it. Austria, I think, will come in second. I don't think the other two advance. I think it's going to be two. Argentina, while old, won the World Cup last time around. They'll cruise through this thing pretty easy. They're going to score goals. That's that. I guess the bigger question is, I know Messi's older now. It'll be interesting to see how much playing time he actually gets. They'll probably limit him in certain capacities. Granted, one thing that's nice is I just looked at their schedule. 1 game in Kansas City and then 2 games at Jerry World in Dallas. So 2 of those games are domed. So makes it even easier for Argentina in that way. Being an older team, they don't have to deal with any elements at all.
And if they're up like 2 or 3-0 in the match and it's the 60th minute, why not just pull Messi off the pitch?
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's go to Group K. Good competitive up top, but it falls off very quickly. Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and then the Congo.
So I have Portugal winning this, then Colombia, then Uzbekistan, and then the Congo. Like with France, like with Argentina, he's not my player to watch, but you have to mention him. Ronaldo is still around. It's kind of strange because you have Ronaldo up top, and then like the rest of the team is like 2 generations behind him. It's like, so they're a really good team. They're coming off, I want to say they won the Nations Cup or the Nations League. So Portugal's definitely I don't know, I guess kind of a dark horse. But they seem to always be a dark horse at every World Cup just because of Ronaldo.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think they win their group, obviously. So my player to watch is not Ronaldo. It's Vitinha, center defensive mid for PSG. Obviously, he's coming off a Champions League victory over Arsenal. And he's a really, really good player. So, Portugal has a lot of really good players, but Vitinha, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. For Colombia, I'm going with James Rodriguez, a guy who always makes a lot of money post-World Cup for a team that he signs with and then never does anything because he seems to only play really, really well when he's playing internationally. So We share the same name. I go by James. He goes by James. So he'll be an interesting player to watch. He is getting older. He's been around for a while, but I think he's still going to be a key piece to that Colombian offense. Uzbekistan, I went with Kunasov, center back for Man City. I don't know much about the Uzbekistan team, but I do recognize Kunasov's name, and like I said, he's a young player, center back for Man City. Already starting, I want to say, for Man City. He's like 20 or 21 years old. He's a really good young player. And then last but not least, for the Congo, I went with Yohan Wissa, striker for Newcastle. He was supposed to fill the Isak shoes when Isak left Newcastle to go to Liverpool. Wissa came in. He was supposed to be the heir apparent as the striker for Newcastle. He had a super terrible season. I had him on my fantasy team. He was never healthy until like the end, and then he wasn't doing much. So he's got a lot to prove at this World Cup, just to try to get back into form to then get ready for the Premier League season.
So I have the same order as you: Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, Congo. Portugal, you kind of mentioned it, kind of a dark horse in this thing. Granted, one top ranked teams coming into this thing. They always feel like they crush who they should crush, and then they struggle against who they're equal with. So I would love to see Portugal win it all. I don't know if this is going to be it, but they'll win the group. Colombia is going to be a tough out. Uzbekistan, Congo, I don't think get out of the group. Yeah. They might be both looking at a point each. So let's go to Group L, which I think is the group of death. I think this is a brutal region.
Yeah, this is a brutal region.
Yeah, England, Croatia, Panama, and then Ghana bringing up the rear. This is a tough one. What do you got?
So I have Croatia winning the group, England coming in second, Panama third, Ghana fourth. Quick thing I'll talk about. There was a lot of interesting backlash at Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, for players he left off the team. The big two being Phil Foden of Man City and Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is one of the best players in the world. I know he's not in great form, and Foden wasn't really in good form, so maybe that's why Tuchel doesn't want to put him on the team, but there's still just two big-name guys who you thought would be shoo-ins for the England team. Players to watch for Croatia, just like Messi, Luka Modric is still playing for Croatia somehow. He's on AC Milan now, played for Real Madrid forever. If you don't know who he is, look him up. You'll probably recognize him. He's like the heartbeat for Croatia. For England, I put Declan Rice, midfielder for Arsenal, set-piece specialist, just kind of the main cog for that England team when it comes to passing and setting guys up. For Panama, I put Adalberto Carrasquilla, a midfielder, plays for Pumas, young kid. Panama's going to be tough out in this group. I mean, the U.S. knows all too well. They're a tough team, and they're a tough CONCACAF opponent. And then last but not least, for Ghana, I put Antoine Samea, forward, plays for Man City. Really one of the only guys that I felt comfortable putting down as a player to watch, because a lot of the other guys are old. Like one of the AU brothers, I think was Jordan AU, I think is on the team. Thomas Partey, I saw might still be slotted in at center defensive mid. He was on Arsenal a couple of years ago. It's just older guys who I'm surprised they just haven't gone with the next generation yet in Ghana. But maybe they're just kind of in a weird limbo stage. I'm not sure.
So I got England winning this one, Croatia coming in second, Panama coming in third, but advancing, and then Ghana finishing up. I like England a lot. I mean, but here's the same thing about England. Every single year we get to the World Cup, will they show up? I mean, That's really the question. And I know fans all over the world are crazy, but the English fans are nuts and have unrealistic expectations every single World Cup.
Hey, it's got to come home at some point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to take England. Yeah, I'm going to take
They had a really bad qualifying. I saw a tweet the other day, and it was something like they're a super slow paced team. They don't score. They were slow paced. They're not scoring, and then they were allowing a ton of goals in qualifying. So it's like I don't want to say that. I'd have to look a little deeper. I mean, I'm sure they qualified easily, but like it's not like they dominated.
No, it's they always seem exactly what you just said. It always seems to get to the World Cup, and they just seem slower than everyone else. And I get they play defense, but they have all. I don't get it. They feel like they have all this talent, and then it just doesn't show up in the World Cup.
Yeah, we'll see if Harry Kane can bring it home for England.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump to the finals. Who do you have in your finals?
So I'll say Portugal beating France is my
Okay.
final.
Funny thing is, that's exactly the same thing I wrote down. That is actually a possibility.
Really?
Yeah. So I kind of mapped it out, kind of like how I think things would map out a little bit, and I came down to France, Portugal, and France winning it all. That's what I had.
Okay. Yeah, I have Portugal winning it all. I think it'd be fun if Portugal won this one, because then it would reharken the Ronaldo Messi talks a little, since they would each have a World Cup. You'd have the Messi people standing firm, and then you have the Ronaldo people standing firm. They both have a World Cup. They're
Well,
both.
the thing that's interesting is I've kind of mapped it out based off of my picks and kind of what I think would happen if everything went according to plan. Argentina and Portugal would play each other in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
So, which would be fascinating. The other one that I think would be fascinating if everything went according to plan, which I think is nuts, but in the round of 16, you'd have France and Germany playing each other.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which
We
is
did did we get Messi Ronaldo last World Cup?
we might have. I don't remember.
I
We
think I
might
want to
have.
say we did, but I can't remember.
Now I gotta look it up. I think we did. As I look it up, who do you got for your top goal scorer and best goalie and everything?
Yeah. So best player of the tournament, the Golden Ball. I have Michael Olise for France. I just think he's going to be the cog for that French team. To not only score, but he's going to rack up a ton of assists with Mbappe. Unfortunately, like I said, I have Portugal winning it and France losing, but I still think he's going to be the best player in the tournament. Golden Boot, I'm banking on, even though Norway might not go super far, I still think they could get to the round of 32, maybe even the round of 16. I put down Erling Haaland just because I think he'll have a couple games where he has a brace or even a hat trick, and if you can get 2 goals, 3 goals in one game, and then get to the round of 16 and get up to like 9 or 10 goals, he might be able to do it. Obviously, it's a little harder if you don't go further in the tournament, but the guy's a freak, so he very well could just score a ton of goals, even if Norway doesn't necessarily do that well or get beyond, like I said, the round of 32 or 16. And Golden Glove, I put Unai Simon of Spain. Yeah, I had a difficult time picking this one just because I didn't want to just go with like only Portugal and France guys, because it seems like they always pick guys from the teams that make it to the final. But I think Simone is a really good goalie, and I think that regardless of Spain faltering in maybe the quarterfinals, you could still give it to arguably one of the best goalies in the world.
Cool. And just did my research. Messi and Ronaldo have never faced off against each other in the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
So it would be a first if that were to happen, which would be pretty cool. So. Well, anything you want to add on before we log off here?
I don't think so. Go Team USA. Let's start off on the right foot and put it to Paraguay.
Yeah, let's not. Imagine if they lose.
I would just prefer to. I mean, I don't want to draw, but at least get a point at minimum. You cannot lose.
You can't lose. You can't lose. So, get a point. I mean, the ideal, they get up, and this USA team, just score. Just score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, let's not screw around. So. All right. Well, we'll be back soon. American football is around the corner. Yeah, so we'll probably be on here soon. So. All right. I don't think I have anything else though. All right.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Until next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy watching football.